You have been lied to. In fact, if you've spent any time on YouTube watching trading tutorials, you have probably heard the same piece of advice repeated like a religious mantra. Always look for a risk-to-reward ratio of at least 1 to 3. Never risk $1 unless you can make 3 back. It sounds incredibly smart. It sounds like responsible risk management. The math seems irrefutable. If you risk 1 to make 3, you only need to be right 25% of the time just to break even. If you are right 33% of the time, you are printing money. On paper, this is the golden rule of trading. But in the real world, where you have to battle your own psychology, your mortgage payment, and your nervous system, this advice is exactly what is keeping you unprofitable. Today, I am going to break down why the 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, the boring, unsexy, amateur approach, actually demolishes the 1-to-3 strategy for the vast majority of retail traders. We need to talk about the difference between mathematical expectancy and psychological feasibility. They are not the same thing. Mathematical expectancy is what happens in a spreadsheet. Psychological feasibility is what happens when you are staring at a screen, your heart is pounding, and you have lost 5 trades in a row. Let's look at 2 traders to understand this. We'll call them Mike and Sarah. Mike listens to the gurus. He trades a strict 1-to-3 system. He risks $100 to make $300. His strategy has a 35% win rate. Mathematically, Mike has a profitable edge. He's doing everything right according to the textbooks. Sarah, on the other hand, trades a 1-to-1 system. She risks $100 to make $100. Her strategy has a 55% win rate. On paper, both systems work, but here's the brutal reality that nobody talks about. Mike is going to experience losing streaks that would bring a monk to his knees. With a 35% win rate, Mike is losing 2 out of every 3 trades. Statistically, it is a certainty that Mike will face losing streaks of 8, 10, or even 12 trades in a row multiple times a year. This is not bad luck. This is the normal variance of a low win rate system. Now ask yourself honestly, what happens to your brain when you lose 8 trades in a row? Do you stay calm? Do you trust the process, or does your primitive brain take over? By loss number 5, you're doubting the strategy. By loss number 7, you're skipping valid setups because you're scared to lose again. By loss number 8, you are revenge trading, doubling your position size just to get back to even. You have abandoned your system. The moment you abandon the system, the mathematical edge of the 1-to-3 ratio evaporates. Mike isn't trading a system anymore, he's trading his trauma. Sarah, with her 1-to-1 system and 55% win rate, lives in a completely different psychological reality. She wins more often than she loses. Her equity curve looks like a staircase, not a heart attack. She might lose 2 or 3 in a row, but then she hits a winner. That winner releases dopamine. It keeps her confident. It keeps her prefrontal cortex engaged, the part of the brain responsible for rational decision-making. She doesn't have to fight the urge to revenge trade because she isn't being psychologically tortured by her own strategy. There's a concept in neuroscience called the winner's effect. When an animal wins a fight, its testosterone spikes, making it sharper, faster, and more likely to win the next fight. When it loses, cortisol, the stress hormone, floods the system, making it timid and hesitant. Trading is biological. When you trade a 1-to-3 system with a low win rate, you are bathing your brain in cortisol most of the time. You are operating from a place of stress and fear. You are fighting against your own biology. Sarah, with her high win rate, is leveraging the winner's effect. She stays in a positive flow state because the feedback loop of winning is frequent enough to sustain her confidence. This is why the 1-to-1 ratio is superior for building an account. It protects your most valuable asset, which isn't your capital, it is your mental state. If your mental state breaks, your capital follows immediately. Let's talk about the prop firm trap. This is where the 1-to-3 obsession destroys careers. Most prop firms have a 10% maximum drawdown rule. If you hit that, you lose the account.
If you are Mike trading a 35% win rate system, the probability of hitting a 10% drawdown is dangerously high, simply due to natural variance. You could execute perfectly and still blow the account, because a string of 10 losses is statistically probable. Sarah, with her 55% win rate, has a massive buffer. Her drawdowns are shallow. She can survive the variance. I've seen simulations that run these numbers over thousands of iterations. The one-to-one systems pass prop firm challenges at nearly double the rate of the one-to-three systems, even when the expected value is identical. Why? Because volatility kills. The 1-to-3 equity curve is a roller coaster with deep valleys. If one of those valleys coincides with your evaluation period, you're done. The 1-to-1 curve is a slow, boring climb. And in trading, boring makes money. Excitement loses money. There's another hidden cost to the 1-to-3 approach: opportunity frequency. A 1-to-3 trade requires the market to move 3 times your risk distance. Those setups are rare. You need a perfect alignment of market structure, momentum, and a void in price action to justify that kind of target. You might find 5 or 6 of those A-plus setups a month. A 1-to-1 setup? They're everywhere. A simple pullback, a quick scalp at a key level, a standard breakout. You might find 20 or 30 high-quality 1-to-1 setups in the same period. Why does this matter? Because of the learning curve. Every trade is a data point. Sarah is executing 30 data points a month. Mike is executing 5. Sarah is learning 6 times faster. After 6 months, she has executed 180 trades. She knows her system inside and out. She knows exactly how she reacts to losses. Mike has executed 30 trades. He barely knows if his system works. He hasn't seen enough data to statistically validate anything. By forcing himself to hunt for home runs, he's stunting his own growth as a trader.
Professional trading firms like Jane Street or SMB Capital do not obsess over hitting home runs. They obsess over consistency. They obsess over win rate. They are not trying to make 10% on one trade. They're trying to make a fraction of a percent thousands of times with high reliability. They understand that edge is fragile. The longer you have to hold a trade to hit a distant target, the more time you are giving the market to turn against you. Taking a profit at 1-to-1 is locking in realized gains. Holding out for 1-to-3 is often just greed disguised as patience. You have to ask yourself what you are actually trying to do here. Are you trying to look smart on Twitter with a screenshot of a massive risk-to-reward trade? Or are you trying to pay your bills? Because if you are trying to pay your bills, you need cash flow. You need consistency. You need a system that doesn't require you to be a psychological superhuman to survive the drawdowns. The argument I always hear against this is, but if I trade 1-to-1, I have to be right more often. Yes, you do, and you will be, because it is exponentially easier to predict that price will move 20 pips than it is to predict it will move 60 pips. The probability of hitting a target decreases as the distance increases. A 1-to-1 target is a high probability target. A 1-to-3 target is a low probability target. You are trading probability for payoff, and for most retail traders, that is a bad trade because they lack the discipline to handle the losing streaks that come with the payoff. Think about the coin toss study, a random entry strategy with a 1-to-1 risk-to-reward ratio and a coin flip for direction achieves a 50% win rate. It breaks even. That simple, mindless strategy outperforms 80% of retail traders. Why? Because the coin doesn't get greedy and try to hold for a 1-to-3. The coin doesn't get scared and move the stop loss. It executes. If a coin can beat 80% of traders using a 1-to-1 ratio, imagine what you can do if you add just a tiny amount of technical edge to that. If you can identify a trend or a support level or a volume imbalance, you can easily push that win rate from 50% to 55% or 60%. With a 1-to-1 ratio, that is a money-printing machine. It won't make you rich overnight, it won't give you the adrenaline rush of a massive win, but it will keep you in the game. It will keep your cortisol low and your confidence high.
The industry sells you the 1 to 3 fantasy because it sells the dream of easy riches with little accuracy required. They tell you that you can be wrong 70% of the time and still get rich. That is a marketing pitch, not a trading plan. Being wrong 70% of the time hurts. It hurts physically and mentally. It drains your will to continue. Stop trying to be a hero. Stop trying to hit home runs. Trading is not about how much you make on your best day. It is about how much you keep on your worst day. A one-to-one system keeps you safe. It smooths out the variance. It aligns with your psychology rather than fighting against it. Give yourself permission to take the easy money. Take the one-to-one. Bank the profit. Build the confidence. Let the compound interest do the heavy lifting over time. You don't need a miracle trade. You just need to show up, execute a system that wins more than it loses, and survive long enough for the math to play out. That is how you become profitable. Everything else is just noise.